Man, I have been doing this for a long time. Well guys, it's that time of the year where I do my annual JRPG lineup video, a list of JRPGs that have a high probability of being released in English this year. I tried to keep this list as compact as possible, not putting too many ports or re-releases on it. With this list, I'm trying to go for purely new JRPGs releasing on consoles and PC, and games that are actually JRPGs and not too much inspired by JRPGs. Make with that what you will. And if you guys know me, or if you're new here to the channel, you know I'm not just some bot listing a bunch of upcoming game releases. You know that I play my JRPGs and I have my own thoughts and opinions on each one. Anyway, let's get started. Pokemon Legends Arceus. Pokemon Legends Arceus is looking to again change things up from the main Pokemon plot and setup that mostly consists of getting 8 badges, challenging the Elite Four, and beating the Pokemon League champion. Instead, in this game, we are not journeying to be the very best like no one ever was, but exploring the beginning of a new region that will eventually be the Sinnoh region that we all know and love for its water. Instead of having a transition to battle, everything in Arceus will be done on screen, from seeing wild Pokemon to battles. It seems the traditional Pokemon battle setup will sort of remain the same as it has been for years, but there will be additional battle mechanics that will help breathe life into these encounters and surely make the game more engaging to play. Even more so now that the wild Pokemon can just attack the player. I have faith Pokemon Legends Arceus will be a nice mainline entry for the Pokemon games. I just hope the new open world aspect of it doesn't hinder the game's performance. Legend of Heroes Trails from Zero. Now I'm really only adding this game to the lineup for the sole fact that it's going to need as much exposure as it can get. Trails of Zero has been out for years in Japan, and this game is just now getting the first official release with official translation. I don't think at this point I need to sell anyone on the Legend of Heroes games. If you played or heard about them, you know how good they are from a story and character standpoint, and how they are famous for probably the most interconnected world with beautiful detail in any JRPG to date. With Trails to Zero being the first 2 games centered in the franchise's ever important crossbow location, there will be a lot of characters to meet and important plot points that still, to the latest entry in the franchise, is sending vibrations throughout the series more than 10 games deep at this point. If you haven't played Trails from Zero and Trails to Azure yet, now is your one shot, your one opportunity to seize these 2 incredible games. With Trails to Azure, the sequel, coming out in 2023, best get started right now. Triangle Strategy. My most anticipated JRPG for 2022 is easily Triangle Strategy. Can't believe Square Enix actually stuck with that name. I'm always a glutton for a good strategy RPG, and when you add on top of that the 2D HD style that Square Enix executed flawlessly with Octopath Traveler, well, just shut up and take my money. I mean, this game looks gorgeous. The sprites on display look great, the maps are just detailed enough for them to stand out. You got particle effects from attacks and spells going off on the field, and the background environmental effects like the water shimmering and glistening in the background. This game is going to look great on my Switch OLED when I eventually find and get one. Besides the game's incredible look, I have a feeling choices are going to be the name of the game when it comes to Triangle Strategy. When you're not in battle, you have to make choices that will shake the very foundation of your playthrough and convince your allies to support the path you decide to take. Now, if this is done correctly and the characters are endearing enough, these choices are going to hit you like a truck, deciding to surrender a character to end an immediate conflict or keep them by your side and fight a desperate struggle. Square Enix hasn't been impressing me as of late with their offerings, so I hope they get this game right. Digimon Survive. Okay, does anyone actually think this game is coming out? If you don't know, this game was announced in 2018 and has been delayed ever since. I'm all for games releasing when they're ready, but god damn, it seems like this one has been cooking in the oven for a bit too long. I'm not the biggest fan of Digimon, but I played their fairly recent offerings and I like them for the most part. As I said, I'm ever the glutton for a good strategy RPG, and this game looks like it can fill that never-ending craving for me. Tactical grid-based battles are here along with evolving Digimon mid-battle, and it seems the general story setup will be like a visual novel. I just hope after all these years in the oven that the game comes out perfectly cooked and not completely burnt. A delayed game is eventually good, right? Right? Grand Blue Fantasy Relink. This is another one that has been cooking in the oven for even longer, if you can believe that. The game was originally announced in 2016. Again, I'm all for a game releasing when it's ready, and we've gotten updates that this game has had a rather rocky and troubled development. From what I've seen of the all-new gameplay, the game seems to be finally on track for release, but I swear it seemed like that like 2 years ago, but I digress. Grand Blue Fantasy itself has been around for a while now, starting from its booming mobile game roots to its pretty successful fighting game, and now a full-force action RPG. Every time I see this game, the interest keeps going up, and then I'm left thinking, is it actually going to release? But I think 2022 will be the year we finally see this game come to the public. Like its mobile game origins, this game will boast a wide variety of characters with different playstyles and graphics that look surprisingly good. If everything goes well, I feel this game can be a surprise hit for 2022. Atelier Sophie 2. There are a lot of games on this list that I'm surprised are actually coming in 2022, but to my complete and utter shock, we are getting a sequel to an already known Atelier game, and it's not Ryza 3. You see, if you don't know, Atelier is a series of JRPGs that specialize in item creation dating all the way back to the PS2 days and probably even further back. And ever since, the games have been releasing year after year after year, but they usually don't get too much attention. You got your small group of dedicated fans that will play the games, but mostly the series doesn't have too many eyes on it. Now that changed abruptly with the release of Atelier Ryza in 2019. That game borderline put the series on the map and garnered the attention of many people not even familiar with the Atelier games. And why did Ryza get this much attention? Well, you can probably take a guess. So much attention that Atelier Ryza became the fastest selling game in the series and helped the series as a whole gain new sales milestones. So of course in 2020 they followed it up with a sequel, and honestly after that I was expecting a third Ryza game, but no, Gus decided to grace us with Sophie 2. And what can you say about Atelier games at this point? They're fun, lighthearted, kind of coming of age stories with a heavy emphasis on item crafting, with battle systems that are turn-based, engaging, and a bit flashy. Just enough to keep you interested in playing more. I expect no less from Sophie 2. Star Ocean: The Divine Force. Just when I thought I've seen the last of Star Ocean, another game in this long-running franchise decides to come out. I am genuinely shocked that we have a new Star Ocean game headed our way, because the last two Star Ocean games have had a... how do I put this lightly? They've had a struggle. And Star Ocean Divine Force looks to change that, probably. From what I've seen and from the other Star Ocean games that I played, I'm going to keep my expectations in check for this one. Star Ocean is one of the few sci-fi JRPGs out there, so I'm willing to give it as much chances as it needs. The game seems to be leaning in a more open world action RPG route that will also put some detail and exploration and what feels that will have you jumping and climbing to get around. Reminds me of Xenoblade Chronicles X. Square Enix, can you not mess this one up, please? Monarch. I'll be rather honest with you guys, Monarch is on my radar solely because it's being made by former Shin Megami Tensei developers. And really, anything SMT, you can just sign me right up. Now, Monarch has a nice style when it comes to its artwork and character designs. These will stick out and are easy on the eyes, but when it comes to its in-game graphics, that's a whole other case. And it's not going to be as good. However, that's to be expected when it comes to a game like this, a game that is developed by a relatively low-key Japanese company, and really you shouldn't be expecting too much from graphics anyway when it comes to the majority of JRPGs. But I do think its in-game character models translate pretty well from the art style it is based off of. Now this game will have a dark atmosphere, hence its former SMT devs, and will more than likely have a soundtrack to match its dark themes. That I'm hearing, the soundtrack of this game in general for the most part will be nothing short of a hit with a lot of people. This will be a turn-based strategy game of sorts. You will move your characters as far as your movement range circle will allow, and during your turn you get to attack, use skills, items, and so on and so forth. Monarch definitely seems like an intriguing JRPG. I'm banking on this one becoming a sleeper hit. Advance Wars 1 and 2 Reboot Camp. Now this is one franchise I thought was done, put to bed. We put F's in the chat to pay off respects and we painfully moved on. But no, Advance Wars is coming back with a vengeance with remakes of its first and second games. I played these games for countless hours on Game Boy Advance back in the day, so you know I'm looking forward to playing these two when they drop. These remakes will of course have an updated art style, updated graphics, along with modern day conveniences like hopefully a fast fast forward or speed up option. The Advanced War games are some of the best tactical RPGs that you can get your hands on. They're fun, charming, and challenging. And you know by now that strategy RPGs and me go together like game journalists in easy mode. So you know I'll be all over these two when this compilation releases. Nice Classics Volume 2. Nice is keeping the old school games coming in hot with its next installment of classic games, one of which I've always wanted to play but never really got a chance to. In this volume you'll be getting two games, Makai Kingdom and ZHP Unlosing Ranger. Makai Kingdom being a tactical RPG and ZHP Unlosing Ranger is a roguelike game, but Wikipedia has it as a tactical game. Is that what? Now, Makai Kingdom is the only real one I'm interested in here. Over the years, the characters from Makai Kingdom would always make their way over to Disgaea games as DLC, and I always liked their design and their personalities and always wanted to play the game that they originated from. As much as I would love both these games' sprites to be updated more to look like Disgaea 4 or 5, I think the old sprites will serve just as fine as a reminder of the game's roots. Can't wait to play Makai Kingdom on this one. Relayer. I'm not really into mecha anime or mecha games at all. The closest I've been involved with mecha is Zoids, but Relayer looks to get me on the mecha train for a set period of time. The game just looks like a thrill to play with its tactical combat and dynamic action battle sequences, combined with the in-game graphics looking pretty fluid and making the mechs themselves look really good. This one is sure to keep me entertained for a long time, I hope. The game also sports some really nice character artwork, being anime inspired of course, and with me personally, good character designs can go a long way. I'm really looking forward to seeing how this game performs. Rune Factory 5. It was announced some time ago, but Rune Factory 5 is finally getting its long-awaited English release in 2022. Rune Factory fans have been waiting for this one, and it seems their wait will finally be worth it. Rune Factory 5 will feature action-style combat along with taming monsters to help you during your quests. As such, with any Rune Factory game, you also have to farm for various items and materials. And from what I've heard, it wouldn't be a Rune Factory game if you couldn't romance a few characters. Rune Factory has always had its dedicated fan base, so I hope this will be the entry they need to keep the franchise going. Dragon Quest III Remake. Now, I'm not really sure if this one is coming in 2022. It was recently confirmed for worldwide release this year, but it would seem that it was a mistranslation, so we don't have confirmation if it's coming. Dragon Quest III, if you didn't know, is pretty much one of the godfathers of JRPGs. It inspired a lot of developers that we know and love in creating their own RPGs, and its general template and character design are always used in some basic RPG themed media. I played a lot of Dragon Quest games in my day and never got around to fully playing this one. Square Enix is using the 2D HD style like Octopath Traveler and Triangle Strategy, and as I mentioned before, you already got my money with that style alone. Hopefully this will be a faithful recreation of the much beloved classic and maybe add in some modern day conveniences to make a playthrough as pleasant as possible. Ayudin Chronicle Rising. This game is an interesting one for me. Just like the majority of you, I am somewhat hyped for the release of Ayudin Chronicle 100 Heroes in 2023. That game looks like a good time, but I have some reservations about any and all Kickstarter games. All the games I've backed, they've come out completely and utterly broken, and I'm sure for every one Kickstarter horror story I name, you guys can probably name about 5 successful ones. Still going to keep my expectations in check for 100 Heroes, but Ayudin Chronicle Rising is a town building action RPG that we will be getting in 2023. The game looks good. Its action gameplay will have you switching between 3 characters that will all have their own unique movesets and special skills. The game's story should tie in nicely with the main game 100 Heroes. So if you're looking for a game to whet your appetite before the main game comes in 2023, Ayudin Chronicle Rising should have you covered. Stranger of Paradise Final Fantasy Origin. I don't want to kill Chaos because the game told me to. I just want to kill Chaos because I'm tired of hearing it every time this game comes up. Stranger of Paradise is an action RPG that seems to lean into some Souls-born gameplay. The game features a job-changing system that the main character can utilize, level up, and unlock abilities for each class via a skill tree. The combat felt good when I played the demo, and I did like getting new equipment that changes how your character looks. Spin-offs are a good thing if they are done correctly, and this game seems to be going in the right direction. Fingers crossed that the developers take the feedback from the demo to heart to make the game better and release it in the best possible condition it can be in. Maglev Lord. I'm gonna be real with you guys for a second. When I first saw this game, I really liked the art style. It has nice character designs and I can always get interested in the game for that alone. However, when I saw the gameplay, that very interest tanked hard. Unfortunately, the in-game graphics look nothing like its eye-popping artwork to me. This is an RPG that will transition into battles that have a similar style to old school Tales of games. You'll be able to unleash attacks and combos and switch to an all-powerful deity to unleash a further bunch of crazy and over-the-top attacks. Outside of battle, it's a visual novel affair with some customization at your disposal for your character weapons and such. Let me know if you guys have genuine interest in this game and what you think about it. Maybe it's just me, but I'm not too excited about this one. Sea of Stars. Now, I was against putting this game on the list, but man, does this game have some major JRPG influences and nice pixel art sprites to match. Heavily inspired by classic JRPGs like Chrono Trigger, just overall the game looks gorgeous. A retro-style JRPG built with modern power. Sea of Stars looks to capture traditional JRPG gameplay with engaging turn-based battles, an actual world map, you don't see many of those nowadays, and you got some nice detailed areas to swim, jump, and climb to get around. This is a Kickstarter game, so I do still have my little bit of reservations about it, but it seems like the developers will have to do a lot to get this one wrong. I'll be on the lookout to see if this game lives up to the RPGs that motivated its creation. Now, I know I missed a few JRPGs here, and I'm sure you're all gonna let me know in the comments. If you enjoyed this video, please hit that like button, and if you are new to the channel, please subscribe. I'll catch you guys later in the next video. Peace.